So, Harun, wa akhi Harun. Questions?
Yes,
answers?
sir. Barakallah feek.
Harun has a lot of answers too.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you so much for what you have taught us so far, mashallah. The first question is, what is your opinion on the omission of the Bismillah from Surah At-Tawbah? There is the idea that it was never clarified by the Sahaba, but is that just sabab to the true meaning, that this is God's final call?
The main reason that Imam Malik, first of all, saw that the ayahs, the Basmala was only an ayah in Surah Al-Ankabut. That was Malik's opinion. I tend to feel like that really is the strongest opinion, because the thing about the Quran, there's no khilaf about the Quran. So the fact there's a khilaf about the Basmala means that I think his opinion is the soundest opinion. In the hadith al-Qudsi, it says, قَسَمْتُ بَيْنِ الْفَاتِحَةَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ عَبْدِي. That's in Sahih al-Bukhari. قَسَمْتُ الْفَاتِحَةَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ عَبْدِي فَإِذَا قَالَ عَبْدِي الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. With all respect to the Shafi'is, because they have to recite the Basmala in the Fatiha. But so that's a opinion. Now, Imam Malik saw the Basmala as they were to demarcate the beginnings of the surahs. And this is why if you read Nafi', which is the qira'ah of the Malikis in North Africa, in Libya they recite Qalun, in the rest they recite Warsh. Sudanese actually recite Abu Amr, I think. But the Malikis recite, because Nafi' was the Muqri of Medina. And so in the Maliki school, the Basmala is it separates, and that's why when you read it, it's mandub to say the Basmala, but you don't have to when you recite the recitation of Nafi', Warsh, Imam Warsh, like they recite in Morocco and Mauritania. So in here, that he says that Ibn Juzay says, وتسمى سورة التوبة وتسمى أيضا الفاضحة لأنها كشفت أسرار المنافقين. So it's also the scandalizer, because it scandalizes the hypocrites, right? واتفقت المصاحف والقراء على إسقاط البسملة من أولها واختلف في سبب ذلك. Right? So there's a difference of opinion about why that is. فقال عثمان بن عفان اشتبهت معانيها بمعاني الأنفال وكانت تدعى القرينتين. So he says that Uthman ibn Affan saw that it got confused with Anfal before it. And so they were called, the two went together. So they were called the Qarinatain. So they didn't separate between the two because the meanings are so related in Surah Al-Anfal and Surah At-Tawbah. So that was Uthman ibn Affan's في زمان ولذلك قرنت بينهما right, so they're put into the سبع الطوال. Right. وكان الصحابة قد اختلفوا هل هما سورتان أو سورة واحدة. Right. Are they one or they're two? فتركت البسملة بينهما لذلك. وقال علي بن أبي طالب البسملة أمان. So Ali ibn Abi Talib said the Basmala is a security, right? وَالْبَرَاءَةُ نَزَلَتْ بِالسَّيْفِ. So, the very beginning of it is بَرَاءَةٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ عَاهَدتُّم مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Like, it's telling them they're given 4 months, and then, so there's a real threat. This is a surah that has a intense wa'id, and so it's inappropriate for the Basmala to be in a wa'id. And this is why there's a famous story about, I think it was Al-Asma'i was reciting the Quran once, and he recited the surah about the sariqa wa sariqa, faqta'u aydiyahuma, and then he says, Inna Allah ghafur rahim. And the Bedouin said to him, هذا كلام من? He said, هذا كلام رب العالمين. He said, مستحيل. He said, impossible. And he said, what? And then he went back, he realized he made a mistake on the ayah. He said, Ghafur Rahim. And he said, oh, Azizun Hakim. He said, that's Allah's. And he said, why did you know that? He said, because you can't say cut off the hand and say then he's merciful and forgiving. لكن عز فحكم. Right? So that's that's what, you know, the rhetoric is called, it's al-maqal الذي يناسب مقتضى الحال, right? So it has to be appropriate with the circumstances. And this is why in these circumstances to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, it would be more appropriate to say Bismillah al-Hakam al-Muntaqim or something like that, or al-Aziz al-Hakim. But Allah left it just bara'atum min Allahi wa rasuli. Khalas.